Want to run faster, jump higher, move with more power? The Sports Recovery and Development Program at Bridges Therapy Group builds speed, strength, agility, and endurance while correcting movement issues that can cause injury. Give your athlete the edge. Schedule an assessment today at srdathlete.com.
You can only mow that grass so long. I'd watched every episode of Andy Griffith, the Waltons, Gunsmoke, all that. Same excitement was there as it was when I left it. I don't want to be the big picture. I want to fit in the big picture.
When you think of high school football in the state of Arkansas, a name that pops into your head almost immediately is Tommy Tice. And after 42 years of coaching in the natural state, it's hard not to think about Coach Tice. Those 42 seasons split between Huntsville High School and Harrison High School. So many successful stories and seasons at both of those places, including Harrison's only state championship in 1999. He is the third all-time winningest football coach in Arkansas history. And after 289 wins, he thought it was time to retire. And he did, until the phone rang in 2024 and he returned to the sport that he loved. This is Varsity Vibe Stories brought to you by Lewis Automotive, and this is my conversation with Farmington head coach Tommy Tice. Do you remember the day that you first decided to retire from Harrison and that decision and retiring from
I
being
do.
over there?
I sure do. The decision to retire from Harrison was strictly a financial decision.
Mhm.
Huntsville, my old home and where it started, and of course my real good friend and AD, Coach Charles Berry, coached me in high school. I'm still there at the time coaching girls basketball. And there was a situation where you could retire 30 days, go back to work. If someone would hire you, and you could draw your salary and all your retirements. So they came and offered me that situation, and that situation was not extended at Harrison, so it was a no-brainer. I had to make that move.
Mm-hmm. Was there a thought, though, of ever coming back, not feeling like you were necessarily done with coaching?
Well, of course, I went to Huntsville and coached for
Yeah.
for 8 years, but as the more I stayed out, the more I thought about it.
Mm-hmm.
And then my wife went to work. She failed retirement. We're going to do everything that, retired people are supposed to do, I guess. And she loved to play golf.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not very good. She beats me every time. So that got old. But yeah, as longer I stayed out, and I got involved with Harrison a little bit, some things with their football program, and I did some radio work. And I'd go to the university every time I got a chance to watch them practice, things like that. So the itch was there. But then she fails retirement, selling real estate. She's selling real estate. So for about a year, you can only mow that grass so long. I'd watched every episode of Andy Griffith, the Waltons, Gunsmoke, all that. And then our granddaughter, moved to Farmington and played softball here for 2 years. And I was here all the time in the spring. Bo Thompson, the AD, I coached his father in 1971 in Huntsville, Arkansas.
Mm-hmm.
And so run into Bo at a softball game, and he asked me, would I have any interest? And I said, surely you find somebody that's, younger, don't like to use that word, but younger. And he said, well, think about it. And so I got to think about it, and I called him back, and we got to talking about it, and I got real antsy about it and real excited about it, and they extended it. And the young man that was sitting in here with us earlier, Coach Watley, that was the one thing. Coach Watley and I had worked together in Harrison in the 80s, and he moved on and won 2 state championships at Rising, and different conference championships at Ashdown and Jacksonville and different places, and we'd always want to get back together. And so he had just retired at Springdale as offensive coordinator. And I called him and said, Mark, here's an opportunity. I said, if you'll go, I'll go. I said, if not, we'll stay retired. And so here we are.
That sounds like that commercial with Tom Brady and Rob Gronkowski. Have you seen that where he's like, "Are you going to retire?
Yeah.
No. If you're out of retirement, I'm out of retirement." That's how that went. It was
Yeah.
a package deal for you too.
Kind of a package deal. I told, Mr. Thooms, the superintendent, and Bo Thompson, AD, I said, uh, very interested. I won't go without Mark Watley. And Mr. Thune says, well, we'll hire him. And so here I am.
Here you are. What was that conversation like with your wife?
Well, she was behind it 100%. She wanted to go. Of course, there's lots of moving parts, closing down a house. And my daughter had when my granddaughter moved on to UCA this past year, my daughter who had lived in Farmington needed a place to live in Harrison. So I didn't really want to sell my house because I don't know where I'm going to end up.
Mm-hmm.
So she moves in our house. I didn't have to rent it or do anything with it. So that took care of that problem. And Joanne she took care of all the moving. She wanted me to do this really bad. And probably she's a really football coach's wife. I mean, big time. And no, that was another deal. She said, hey, I can handle all this part of it. Let's go.
So you take the job, you're getting back into it. Coming back out here, stepping on this field for the very first time again as a head coach. Was there a renewed excitement for you doing it all over again?
The excitement came from being around the players and the coaches. The same excitement was there as it was when I left it. The list of things when you're in coaching, you have a list of things you like and a list of things you don't like. Both lists were still there. But the first one far superseded the second.
Mm-hmm. Do you feel like you're the same coach that you were before?
No,
how much have you changed?
Well, I'm a better coach.
Okay.
I am less. I don't jump off the deep end as much. I take things more as they come. I think time away from it really helped me with that respect. I've always been an emotional type coach, but I am not as much so as I was. And also having you met Bill Harrison. He was another head coach that we brought out of retirement. And of course, to have these two head coaches around me has really been a great blessing to me. But I've found that I feel like now that's depends on who you talk to. I feel like I've done a better job than I ever did before.
Also feels like for as long as you were in it, for all of the coaches you met along the way, as you've mentioned, two of them, you got to put together a coaching staff that was almost like an all-star cast of sorts in your mind to get all these guys that you'd interacted with over the years and bring them here to Farmington.
That's true. We Mark and I laugh about it. We came in and we had to hire 5 coaches, and we had to be in a team camp with 3 days of practice. And so we had about 3 offensive plays. We went that first team camp, and we got whipped pretty good. But we did. We brought in 5 coaches. We had a great blend of young and then experienced that has worked out really well. And in the second year, we've had one of the coaches, defense coordinator, Casey Moreland, outstanding defense coordinator. He has moved on to private business. And Jared Jackson, who was offensive line coach, who was kind of almost retired. He was just going to teach school. And we talked him into coming. And now he's head coach of Mineral Springs. And that's one thing about me that I just look at sometimes, shake my head. I've had 25 assistants become head coaches. And so that's fun. That's been a lot of fun to keep up with. And so Jared's just the latest one. And now we've been able to add people in their spot that have really, really rounded out our staff.
When you look at that coaching tree, is it a sense of pride for you when you look at it?
I am very prideful in their accomplishments. and also the fact that I let them coach, and it got to be that people, wanted to come to work with us because we didn't micromanage them. We let them told them what the job was. I told them what how we wanted it done. We didn't want to stifle their imagination or initiative in any way, and then we'd hold them accountable to doing that. And it's worked worked out really well. But it is a very big sense of pride with me to see what those guys are doing. And they call from time to time some that are out of coaching, and of course right down the road is Danny Absher, assistant I had at Harrison, and so we still play each other. Sometimes we don't speak to each other, but we still play each other, and so it has been a very prideful thing for me.
When you look at everything you've accomplished already, when the state championship at Harrison and the playoff appearances, the Coach of the Year awards, the Hall of Fames that you're in, being the third all-time winningest coach in Arkansas. I mean, all of those accolades, how much do they mean to you compared to just wanting to go out and coach football every day?
Ren, that's another thing that really I've been able to keep in perspective. I don't think about those things anymore. When I came back last year, I wanted to concentrate on the positive things of the job. The things that really I think about those situations are the people that got me there. And of course, first and foremost are the players. Of course, we've already talked about the coaches. I was surrounded by great coaches. Uh, you know, they did all the work. I got all the credit. You know, and so I think those things have pointed out to me just how fortunate I have been. With the wife that I married, uh, that has kept me pretty well grounded and excited because she's such a coach's wife, and but have the opportunity to go back and experience all that, over was amazing. And then the season we had last year, Alyssa, it was just miraculous.
Mhm.
I mean, if you look back at that season, I mean, we come in here, nobody knows us. Everybody's going, "Who? He's old, isn't he?" And it's one good thing about being old, Alyssa. Sometimes you don't even remember who you played last week. So, you know, and that's what I tell everybody. They say they want to talk about the Parkview game. I go, "Who? Who do we play?" But those things have been really good, and
Yeah.
I've enjoyed it immensely. But to walk in there walk out on that field I'd never played on before, and look up in the stands on Friday nights and see the excitement, get to be around and of course I'm a guy that puts things together. I set out to get everybody on our side, and especially in the school, the band, the cheerleaders, the dance team, the faculty. I wanted to be a part of all that. And I remember going to the first. Now I'm an entertainer at pep rallies. I always have been, and I think that's part of the job. And I've never understood coaches that didn't talk at pep rallies. And so I go to the first pep rally, and Joanne goes with me, and we're seeing it, and she looks at me and said, "You're going to have to pick this thing up some way." And so I went to the sponsor that headed it all up, and I said, "Next pep rally, if you'll put me on the agenda, I think I can show you something you've never seen before." And I get them yelling and screaming and telling them they're the greatest thing since sliced bread, and our band's going to whip their band, and all this stuff, and so I like to draw people. I like the feeling of everybody being involved in the community as well as the school, and we all pulling for the same thing.
You got a go-to opening line for these pep rallies?
Well, no, but I do have my that, and I got this from Harold Stillman at Arkansas Tech when we would go down there and be at the football camps, and he called it the shake and bake. And you'd lean to the left and clap on the right and get going back and forth. The drums beating and all this stuff, and then you raise your hands up, and everybody goes crazy, and drop your hands. Everybody gets quiet, and then you holler something, they holler something back. So everybody in this town knows what shake and bake means.
Mhm.
So that's my moniker, if you will.
Mhm.
And of course, the other thing and people watch the movie Greater, and they hear me ask the players, "Have I told you I loved you lately?" And that's true. and I've used it forever. And the reason I do that, or started out doing it, is that let's say that you're a player and you've had a rough day. Maybe I've been on you a little tough or whatever, and I don't want you going home upset, because I want you to come back the next day. We'll try it again. So I come and say, now, Alyssa, have I told you I loved you lately? And you'd say, no, coach, because he don't know what's coming. And I'll say, well, I'll get back to you on that. And we'd smile, and
Yeah.
I'd smile, and all the tension would be alleviated, and he'd be there the next day, and we'd be ready to try it again. And I don't know who I got that from, but I got it a long, long time ago, and it has served me very well.
With decades of experience under his belt, I asked Coach what advice he would give to younger coaches in the profession. His answer and exactly what Crooked Creek magic is after this.
If you're an athlete that wants to improve your game, maybe improve your 40, jump higher, have better agility, Bridges Therapy Group's Sport Recovery and Development Program can help. They've been helping student athletes reach their highest potential for quite a while now. They've got a team that includes physical therapists, athletic trainers, personal trainers, and occupational therapists. And together, they design individual plans to build speed, explosive power, agility, strength, and endurance. Whether your athlete's returning from rehab or working for a competitive edge, SRD provides the training and guidance to help them succeed. Schedule your athlete's assessment today at srdathlete.com.
QuickTurf is the go-to team for building championship-level sports facilities for public schools, private schools, and the entire school district. They also install beautiful backyard putting greens for homeowners. Known for lifelike, eco-friendly turf, QuickTurf handles everything from design and lighting to drainage and final landscaping. Their all-in-one approach delivers high-performance surfaces for athletes and low-maintenance greens that last for years. With preventative maintenance programs, they keep every field and green looking game day ready. Schedule a free consultation today at quickturf.com. That's QIKturf.com.
Matt Lewis with Lewis Automotive Group, excited to announce our trade-in, trade-up event. During this event, you get thousands extra for your trade value. Plus, it's all backed by the Lewis Guarantee. Double the factory warranty. That's a 10-year, 120,000-mile powertrain. Plus, you get 1 year worth of maintenance on us. This event's only going on at Lewis Automotive Group and is at all of our locations in Fayetteville, Springdale, and Farmington.
Could a little extra support help your child shine even brighter? Bridges Therapy Group empowers kids to live their best life with expert pediatric therapy services tailored to their needs. Their team offers occupational therapy, speech therapy, and physical therapy, guiding families from the first evaluation to every milestone along the way. Give your child the tools to succeed and shine. Visit btgpeds.com to learn more and schedule your appointment today. That's btgpeds.com.
What are some other fond memories you remember of coaching before at Huntsville and Harrison?
Well, one of the big things at Huntsville that I remember, we were I was there the first time 8 years. And of course, the game was different. The game was confined. If you had kids that fight, you had a chance of winning, and hard-nosed people, and field wasn't spread out. Now you can't play a non-athlete because they're going to have to cover somebody. Well, back in those days, it wasn't necessarily that way. And we go into Springdale in 1976, and we beat them at Springdale. And I'll tell you what, that was an unbelievable feeling. Also, in 75, when we finished, I think, in the semifinals, those were great times. But we played in a league. Now, get this league. There's Huntsville. Littlest, in that time, was AA. Of course, it'd be 5A now. Our league was Harrison, Mountain Home, Siloam Springs, and Bentonville. And we won it 2 years in a row. And and we were fortunate to be very successful. And those were great times. Going to Harrison, everything I remember there revolves around Crooked Creek. And we started Crooked Creek Magic. And what Crooked Creek Magic was, I told him, I said, out here on this old field is the blood, sweat, and tears of goblins that have gone on before you. And I said, the rains come and it washes it right into that creek right there 50 yards away. And I said, if we're close in the fourth quarter, that magic will come over the field and take over and we'll win. Well, we did a lot of them. And so that evolves around that.
Yeah.
And thinking about last year, we're playing Lakeside in the semifinals. And we can't stop them. And they're having a hard time stopping us, but we find ourselves down a couple touchdowns in the fourth quarter. And I tell the offense, I said, guys, the old defense got their backs up against the wall. I said, here's what we're going to do. I said, we're going to score. We're going to onside kick. We're going to play make it, take it. That's an old basketball term, you know. We're going to play make it, take it. We're never going to give them the ball back. We got 2 onside kicks and won the stinking game. You know, and I'm going, somebody's watching over me pretty good here now, because things like that but when kids start believing it's unreal what things can happen. When you get those 4 and 5s to get to playing like 7 and 8s, and of course, one of my things that I truly believe in is I don't spend a lot of my time with star players. Most of the time, especially players that have good support groups at home, I spend my time with those guys down here at the other end of the spectrum. And when they leave, I want those guys saying 2 things. 1, he treated me fairly. And 2, he never underestimated my talent, and that has worked, real well for me too.
So much history at Huntsville and Harrison. When you took over here, what was the goal? Where do you want to take Farmington from where they were to when you do pass it on?
Well, I wanted to go take it to a high level in the state. Of course, our first goal is always win a district championship. But I wanted it to be a spot that when people said the name Farmington, the first thing come in their mind, and we have excellent basketball and baseball and softball, but I don't want to be the big picture. I want to fit into the big picture, and I want us to take our rightful spot.
Mm-hmm. They have done such a great job with the facilities, with the fields, building almost in a premeditated way ahead of where Farmington can be by saying, we're going to build it. It's almost like Field of Dreams. If you build it, they will come. You build these facilities, you build the stadiums the way that you bring you in. I mean, you can feel almost like, okay, there's magic in the water down here. There's something brewing down here where we're just waiting for Farmington to light the switch and turn things around.
Well, a couple things, when we got to talking about the job, it was apparent to me that the community support was there. They had won the district championship the year before I got here. J.R. Eldridge had done a great job and a solid ground of discipline and fundamentals and toughness. And also, they had administrators that cared. Behind every great program are administrators that care. And Mr. LaFoon and Bo Thompson, they don't just care about athletics. They care about the entire school, but they understand the place that athletics can occupy to help a school and a community in so many ways.
Yeah. What about your team this year? How you feel?
Well, expectations are high. I like our team, but I don't know about our team. We haven't been behind yet,
Mm-hmm.
I hope they can look at their coaches and realize there's no panic, and kind of like last year. And I think if we can stay away from complacency and selfishness, I think that we can be in the hunt. Now, our league is tough, real tough. And so we got to, got to deal with that.
Mm-hmm.
But, last year, and think about this, we had one player miss for an injury, only one.
Mm-hmm.
And he was back and he missed one game, the offensive tackle. We had 6 turnovers for 14 games. We came from behind in 5 games to win those games. So if you tell me that we're not going to lose anybody to injury, that we're going to only have 6 turnovers, I'm going to tell you we're going to have a great team. But this will be a different team. You know, of course, we have Aiden Lester back, and Aiden Lester is one of the best quarterbacks. You know, his ability is unreal in things like his intelligence, his ability to see the field, and he has an elusive ability about him to escape. And a lot of our conference coaches think we spray him down with Pam or something because he's so slippery. But got him back. His leadership is tremendous. We have 32 seniors on our squad. So, you know, I think like I say, if we don't get complacent, of course, a lot of that's on me. Don't get selfish because that can ruin a team quicker than anything, and keep them headed in the right direction. They're going to be a good football team. I like them a lot.
You're doing this a long time. Do you remember why you got into coaching in the first place?
Well, I think when you get into coaching to start with first, you want to just win games. I think as time goes by, you want to have effect on a young man's life in a positive way. And as time went by in my career, I realized that, you know, it was about players. It wasn't about me, you know. And those were the reasons. I don't think any coach, when they start out, if they say anything different than they wanted to win ball games, they're lying, you know, because we're young, dumb, selfish, and everything else. But I think as time goes by, I think those things switch to more of the intrinsic values that athletics offers young people.
Is that what you want your legacy to be?
I want my legacy to be maybe when my tombstone that I was a helper, that I helped players get where they wanted to be, helped communities get to where they wanted to go, helped assistant coaches get to where they wanted to go. I hope I'm remembered as a helper.
And one last question for those coaches who have either coached with you, against you, have seen you coach, your best coaching advice that you can give.
Build those relationships. But you better also, here's two, and I remember John Outlaw, I don't know if you remember Johnny, but he was a great coach at Arkadelphia, went on to Lufkin, Texas, and of course he had over 300 wins. Arkansas boy, grew up at Ozark. And Johnny spoke at a lot of clinics. And he said, always, every time, he said, find those places that care about athletics, that have administrators that care. And if you don't have those, you need to be looking for another job.
I thank Coach Tice for his stories and his time, and we wish Farmington the best of luck in this 2025 season. Varsity Vibe Stories is brought to you by these sponsors: Lewis Automotive, Bridges Therapy Group, and Quick Turf. See you next time with more stories to tell.